In July 1944, inside Hitler's heavily guarded headquarters known as the Wolf's Lair, a German officer placed a briefcase beneath a conference table and quietly walked away. Minutes later, the bomb inside exploded, shattering walls, killing 4 people, and nearly changing the course of history. But Adolf Hitler survived. That officer was Claus von Stauffenberg, and his failed assassination attempt would ignite one of the most dramatic manhunts of the Second World War. This is the real story behind Operation Valkyrie, the officers who tried to kill Hitler. By 1943, Germany was losing the war. The Eastern Front had swallowed millions. The Allied invasion in Italy was underway. Bombs fell nightly on German cities. And for the first time, even some of Hitler's most loyal officers began to question the man they had sworn to serve. Among them were aristocrats, generals, and civil servants, men from families that had served Germany for generations. They had once believed in Hitler's promises, but now saw the truth, a madman leading their nation to destruction. One conspirator, General Ludwig Beck, said, "If the Führer is the conscience of the nation, then Germany has no conscience." These men began to meet in secret, in offices, homes, even church basements, forming a circle of resistance deep within the Third Reich. Their goal was not just to kill Hitler, it was to save Germany from itself. Among those who joined the conspiracy was Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg, a decorated officer, devout Catholic, and father of 4. Stauffenberg had fought bravely in North Africa, where he was severely wounded in 1943, losing his right hand, 2 fingers on his left, and his left eye. When he returned home to Germany, he found a nation in ruins and a regime drunk on power and blood. At first, like many, he had admired Hitler, but after witnessing atrocities committed by the SS in Poland and Russia, his faith in the Führer shattered. He wrote in his diary, "The man has gone mad. He must be removed, even if it means my own life." Stauffenberg's injuries made him a symbol, the wounded soldier who could no longer fight with weapons, only with conviction. And that conviction soon led him to the heart of a conspiracy that would come closer than anyone ever had to killing Adolf Hitler. The plot to kill Hitler wasn't just about a bomb. It was also about seizing control of the government the moment he was dead. To do that, Stauffenberg and his co-conspirators found a loophole, a real military contingency plan called Operation Valkyrie. Originally, it was designed by the German army as a plan to maintain order in case of internal revolt or civil unrest. But the conspirators decided to rewrite it. They secretly modified the plan so that once Hitler was assassinated, the reserve army in Berlin would believe a coup was officially authorized by the government. They would seize control of key ministries, arrest Nazi leaders, and declare a new government. Their goal was to end the war, negotiate peace with the Allies, and save Germany from complete annihilation. It was brilliant and dangerous. The success of the entire operation depended on 2 things: that Hitler must die, and that communications could be seized before the truth spread. And there was only one man trusted enough to stand close enough to Hitler to plant the bomb: Claus von Stauffenberg. It was Thursday, July 20th, 1944. Hitler was meeting his top officers at the Wolf's Lair, a heavily guarded bunker complex deep in the forests of East Prussia. Stauffenberg arrived carrying a brown briefcase filled with documents and a bomb hidden inside. At 12:30 p.m., the meeting began. The room was stifling hot. Windows were open. A long wooden table ran through the center, maps spread across it. As Hitler leaned over the table, Stauffenberg excused himself to make a phone call. In a nearby room, with only one functioning hand, he armed the bomb using pliers and acid detonators, a delicate process that took several minutes. He was supposed to arm 2 bombs, but time was running out. He armed only one. Returning to the conference room, he set his briefcase near Hitler, just 2 meters away, and quietly left. Minutes later, the blast tore through the room, blowing out walls and killing 4 officers instantly. Stauffenberg saw the fireball rise and drove away, convinced Hitler was dead. In Berlin, his fellow conspirators began to execute Operation Valkyrie. They mobilized troops, occupied government buildings, and arrested SS officers. For a few fleeting hours, it looked as though the coup had succeeded. But by evening, the truth reached Berlin. Hitler had survived. When Hitler's voice crackled over the radio that night, the conspirators' hopes collapsed. Soldiers who had been following Stauffenberg's orders realized they'd been deceived. Loyal SS units stormed the government district. By midnight, the plot had completely unraveled. In the courtyard of the Bendlerblock, the German army headquarters in Berlin, Stauffenberg and his closest allies were arrested and condemned on the spot. There was no trial, no last words from a judge. At 12:30 a.m., as rain began to fall, Stauffenberg shouted his final words, "Long live Holy Germany!" Gunshots rang out. The man who had come closest to killing Hitler was dead. Over the following weeks, Hitler's revenge was merciless. More than 7,000 people were arrested. Nearly 200 were executed, including many who had only whispered doubts about the Führer. Some were hanged with piano wire, their deaths filmed for Hitler's personal viewing. The regime was shaken, but it survived for another 9 months. Operation Valkyrie failed, but its legacy endures. In post-war Germany, the conspirators were long viewed with suspicion, traitors who had turned on their country. But as decades passed, their motives were reevaluated. They weren't fighting for power, they were fighting for conscience. Claus von Stauffenberg became a symbol, not of betrayal, but of moral courage in the face of tyranny. Each July 20th, Germany holds a national remembrance ceremony in the same courtyard where he was executed. A plaque there reads, "You did not bear the shame. You resisted, you gave your life for freedom, justice, and honor." Their courage did not end the war, but it proved something enduring, that even within the darkest regimes, there are still those who stand up and say, "No more." In the end, their briefcase bomb failed to kill Hitler, but it forever shattered the myth of his untouchable power. The men of Operation Valkyrie remind us that courage is not the absence of fear. It's doing what's right despite it.